Hello everyone, since the Game Awards just finished 2 days ago, I thought I would make a video and go over the list of major game titles confirmed to be coming out in 2026. Personally, I think 2026 will be the biggest year in gaming ever due to the high amount of massive IPs coming out. Not to mention we are still in 2025, so there are still a ton of games for 2026 that have not been announced yet. I have been maintaining a Trello dashboard for the last couple of years now, which contains all the major games releasing each year, organized by month. You can click on each card in the board and you will get a trailer for the game and the list of platforms it is releasing on. I will leave a link to this board in the video description and the comments, so if anybody else wants to keep track of what games are coming out, feel free to use it. A small disclaimer before we start, this list is personally curated by me, mostly based on my own personal taste, but I do try to include major games that I personally don't care about, but I know other people do. First off, we have the to be confirmed list, which contains all the games confirmed for 2026, but which don't have a specific release date yet. Here we have big titles such as Fable, Onimusha, Exodus, Tide of Annihilation, Archeage, Marvel Tokon, Mortal Shell 2, Game of Thrones tactical game, End of Abyss, a new Plague Tale game, The Blood of Dawnwalker, Super Meat Boy 3D, Beast of Reincarnation, MUDANG 2 Hearts, Marathon, Directive 8020, Lords of the Fallen 2, Dawn of War 4, Hellraiser game, Armatus, Control Resonant, Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, Star Wars Galactic Racer, and Decrepit. A ton of massive games with a lot of variety, and we are not even in 2026 yet, so who knows what else is going to come out. Out of this list, Tides of Annihilation and Control Resonant are the games I am most excited for, because they look fantastic and I really love the first Control game. Looking at January, we have the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, which I am personally very excited for, since it was one of the first games I've played as a child. Next we have Highguard, which was the final announcement at the Game Awards show 2 days ago. This is going to be a PvP raid shooter claiming to be a new take on the PvP hero shooter genre, and it's also free to play. Then we have Code Vein 2, the sequel to Code Vein, which is an action RPG game mixing Souls elements with some hack and slash combat. Moving on to February, which is the most packed month so far, we have Nioh 3, which is a Souls hack and slash game with a large fanbase, the third game in the critically acclaimed Nioh series. Then we have Romeo is a Dead Man, a third-person action-adventure game from the makers of No More Heroes. Next we got Reanimal, a sort of Little Nightmares spin-off game, which looks pretty sick and it has co-op as well. We also have the sequel to High on Life, which was a pretty fun first-person shooter game. Lastly, in February we have one of the biggest titles of 2026, Resident Evil Requiem, which is looking great and all the Resident Evil fans are excited for this one. Moving on to March, which is yet another super stacked month. We have potentially the biggest action RPG of 2026, Crimson Desert, from the developers of Black Desert. This game is looking absolutely massive, with a huge open world to explore, a deep combat system and great fantasy elements. For me personally, this is one of the most exciting games coming out in 2026. Next we have the first Sony first party game of the year, Saros, which is a roguelite third-person shooter made by the developers of Returnal. If you liked Returnal or if you like roguelite games, this is definitely a game for you. It looks amazing, it has great gameplay, art style, sound, and is going to be one of the biggest hits of the year for sure. In March we also have 007 First Light from the makers of Hitman and John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. April is pretty light at the moment, with only Cthulhu the Cosmic Abyss and Pragmata. Personally, I am excited for Pragmata because it looks like a pretty fun third-person action game with some interesting puzzle elements for the combat. In May we only have one game, but that game is Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, which is looking very good and a ton of people are excited for this one. We have 0 games confirmed for June, July and August so far, but those spots will definitely be filled very soon by some of the games I mentioned in the to be confirmed list. Looking at Q3 and Q4, we have probably the biggest games of 2026. First off, Phantom Blade Zero in September, which is an action RPG hack and slash game that looks absolutely fantastic. Combat looks very fast paced and super clean, boss fights look epic, you have tens of weapons types to play with, and the art style is also great. This game will definitely be one of the biggest hits of the year and potentially a Game of the Year contender. Next up we have the game that I am most excited for in 2026, Marvel's Wolverine, from Insomniac, the developers behind the Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank games. I already know this game will be amazing because of Insomniac's past games, but I also like Wolverine as a character a lot, so this game is right up my alley. Combat is looking great, really gory, they have dismemberment and lots of blood, which is exactly what a Wolverine game needs to have. This will definitely be one of the top Game of the Year contenders. Last but not least, we have GTA 6, the biggest game of the year, set to release on November 19th. This game is by far the most hyped game of the year, with each of its trailers having hundreds of millions of views. Unfortunately, the game already got delayed a few times, so we don't know for sure if this release date will be final. It also does not have a release date for PC yet, meaning that it will come out on consoles first. Overall, I think 2026 will be the best year for games so far, and we have a ton of variety, which means a game for everyone. My personal list of games I am most excited for in 2026 has Tide of Annihilation, Control Resonant, Prince of Persia Sands of Time Remake, Reanimal, Crimson Desert, Saros, Pragmata, Phantom Blade Zero and Wolverine. I will definitely be making content for all the games I just mentioned, so stay tuned for next year. Let me know down in the comments which games coming out in 2026 you are most hyped for. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.